News from across the Federation, spanning the region and covering the globe. This is the Kyssfm SKN News Now Evening Edition, your one true source for news. And now your presenter.
Good evening, I am Javon Library. Today is Monday, 19th February 2018. This is the SKN News Now Evening Edition. In the headlines tonight, nationally, the SKNLP is strongly condemning Speaker Michael Perkins ahead of Wednesday's sitting of Parliament. Internationally, the fallout in the Russia-Trump probe continues over recent indictments, and in sport, allegations of Russian doping at Pyeongchang is creating embarrassment for the International Olympic Committee. We have the details of these stories, the weather and Carib update, all ahead in the SKN News Now Evening Edition. The St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party released an official statement on what they deem as the reprehensible conduct and behaviour by the Speaker of the National Assembly and Honourable Michael Perkins. In the letter, the SKNLP accused Speaker Perkins of attempting to muzzle the opposition. The party has said that this letter serves as a warning signal that corruption of the Parliament must stop and as a plea to right-thinking citizens to decry the apparent and undemocratic actions of the government and the Speaker in an effort to preserve democracy. The letter primarily addressed the last sitting of Parliament in which Senator Nigel Carty and Right Honourable Dr. Denzel Douglas were denied the opportunity to speak on the St. Christopher and Nevis Ear and Seaport Authority Amendment Bill 2018. An excerpt from the letter reads, Speaker Michael Perkins was deliberate, blatant and arrogant in his dismissal of the opposition's appeal to him for an opportunity to address the bill before the House. Instead, the Speaker on yet another occasion allowed the government side to wind up the debate, thereby shutting out the members of the opposition. Such egregious and contemptible acts have become the norm in our Parliament since Mr. Perkins assumed the speakership. It continued, Mr. Perkins displays an uncommon ineptitude and callous disregard for the rules governing the Parliament and for the rights and privileges of the members of the opposition. The naked flouting of the rules of Parliament and the abuse of opposition members are part of a deliberate conspiracy hatched between Mr. Perkins and members of the government, the Prime Minister in particular. The St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party also accused the Speaker of being biased, his actions being a part of an attempt to discredit Honourable Congress Maynard in order to catapult Senator the Honourable Akila Byron Nisbet's public profile. Senator Byron Nisbet will likely be the People's Labour Party candidate for the West Basseterre seat in the next elections. Attacks by the Speaker on Dr. Douglas and other members of the Labour Party were also highlighted in the letter. Another excerpt read, We note too that the attacks on the leader of the opposition, former Prime Minister Right Honourable Dr. Denzel Douglas, have also been stepped up, as are the attacks on Central Basseterre Representative Honourable Marcella Liebert. It continued, the most recent sitting of Parliament is the clearest indication yet that a tyrannical dictatorship aided and abetted by the Speaker is thriving in our once democratic country. Dr. Timothy Harris and his government are trying to run roughshod over the opposition counterparts in Parliament while corruption flows wanton in the streets of Basseterre. Speaker Michael Perkins remains silent on the issue. Meanwhile, member of Her Majesty's loyal opposition in St. Kitts and Nevis, Honourable Congress Maynard, has also penned a letter to Speaker of the National Assembly, Honourable Michael Perkins, challenging the suspension imposed on him at the last sitting of Parliament on Tuesday, 13th February 2018. The letter documented Mr. Maynard's disgust with the actions of Speaker Perkins and stated that the suspension was unlawful, invalid, and in violation of the standing orders of the National Assembly of St. Christopher and Nevis. Maynard went on to challenge the grounds of his naming and suspension, noting that at no time did he engage in gross disrespectful conduct. The opposition member also challenged the manner in which the Speaker imposed the suspension, remarking that it was against proper parliamentary procedure. Additionally, Mr. Maynard pointed out in his letter to the Speaker that any decision to be taken by the Parliament must be carried by a vote after a question is put to the members of Parliament. He continued, "No motion for my suspension was carried as there was no question put and no vote taken at the sitting of the Parliament as required under Section 49(4) of the Standing Orders." Maynard confidently stated that given the facts, he has not been legally or validly suspended from the House and therefore demands the Speaker to reverse his decision. Maynard's hasty and faulty 10-day suspension was the end result of Speaker Perkins labeling Maynard's behavior at the last sitting of Parliament as grossly disrespectful. At the time of Maynard's suspension, he and the other members of the opposition were leaving the House after Speaker Perkins refused to hear contributions from the Right Honourable Dr. Denzel Douglas and Senator Honourable Nigel Carty in the debate of the St. Christopher ANC Port Authority Amendment Bill 2018. Should Speaker Perkins refuse to reverse his decision on Mr. Maynard's suspension, despite the errors in the process being pointed out, it will mean that the West Bastia MP will be unable to enter or participate in the next meeting of the National Assembly, which is due to take place on Wednesday, 21st February 2018. And on a related note, sitting of the National Assembly this week will see Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris introduce the West Indies Tenure of Office of the Prime Minister Constitutional Amendment Bill 2018. It is likely that this bill will seek to fulfill one of the election promises of the Team Unity Coalition to introduce term limits for the office of Prime Minister. Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force Constable Xavier Jeffers has been arrested and charged with manslaughter for his involvement in the death of Nivision 70-year-old Philo Wallace. Jeffers was arrested and charged earlier today in St. Kitts. Director of Public Prosecution Valston Graham had advised the police high command since April last year that the officer should be charged. The TPP's recommendation was made despite the findings of the coroner's inquest in March 2016, when a 5-member jury determined that Wallace's death was a justifiable homicide. It was on October 17, 2015, at around 4 a.m. that Jeffers allegedly shot Wallace in the chest at Enrique's Bar in Charlestown, Nevis. The teenager was rushed to the Alexandra Hospital, where he died about half an hour after the incident. Patrons in St. Kitts and Nevis throughout the region and internationally are being introduced to a new payment and ticketing structure to facilitate their entrance into the 22nd annual St. Kitts Music Festival. Newly appointed chairperson of the festival's committee, Mr. Damian Hobson, brought wind of the new addition to the overall experience of the event during his remarks at the official roster release of this year's local, regional and international acts. The new pricing structure is the highlight of the committee's aim of focusing on the overall quality of the festival rather than quantity.
Over quantity, and as such, we are promoting a new pricing structure. Effective today, the 16th of February 2018, until the 28th of February 2018, the prices for the tickets online only will be 95 EC dollars. So later this afternoon, the website developers, Card Commerce, will be making a presentation to show you where to go online to purchase your tickets. In March, between March 1st and March 31st, the ticket prices will be $105. Between April 1st and April 30th, the ticket prices will be $115. Between May 1st and May 31st, the price of the tickets will be $125. And from June 1st until the music festival, the price of the tickets will be $135.
The online ticketing component in no way overshadows or removes the option of persons purchasing physical tickets, Chairman Hobson noted, adding that online ticketing is a more efficient option for persons to gain access to the festival, as there is no long waiting lines and a special access point to gain entrance into the show on each night. He further noted that the special ticket prices are only available online at the festival's website, stkitsmusicfestival.net. Meanwhile, the committee is on a roll as they may be the first to present a full lineup so early in the year ahead of the actual event. As announced, the festival slated to kick off on Thursday, 28th June 2018, will see performances from a range of top top-billed local and regional soca and dancehall performers such as the New Vibes Band, Small Axe Band, Spice, Destro, Kester Band, and Nyla Blackman. On Friday, June 29th, persons will be entertained by Sizzla Kalonji, August Alsina, Aishana, Wayne Wonder, Shaka Demos, and Pliers, Dijon, and Byron Messiah. The final night, Saturday, June 30th, will see performances by international superstars including Fetty Wap, Lauryn Hill, Patti LaBelle, and Rhythm of the Beat. In brief remarks at the launch, Minister of Tourism Honorable Lindsay Grant spoke to the importance of the festival, noting that it is essential to the local tourism sector.
The festival started in somewhere in 1996, and I want to tell you that the purpose of the festival really was to put heads in the beds, meaning to bring tourists to St. Kitts and Nevis during the slow season. And that's what it's all about. Of course, this year we're giving you, I believe, a genre that satisfies all the tastes of everybody. But more importantly, we want to make sure that this year there is an economic boom in St. Kitts and Nevis during the course of the music festival.
Honorable Grant expressed that the lineup is one that he believes will be an attractive one to everyone, as it boasts of an array of genres. Police have made their 7th gun and ammunition seizure for the year, 4 more than for the same period last year. On 15th February, police discovered and took into custody a .40 caliber pistol, along with 119 rounds of .40 millimeter ammunition and 1.22 round of ammunition. Authorities say the cooperation of a vigilant citizen was critical in making this bust. While the nature of the person's assistance was not outlined, police are saying that this sort of cooperation will ensure that level of criminal activity trends downward. A day later, on Friday 16th, police officers from the tactical unit were conducting search operations in St. Peter's and found an .25 pistol with 1 round of ammunition. In the outline of the Police Strategic Plan 2018, the removal of illegal firearms from the streets was mentioned as one of the areas of priority for the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force. Since these back-to-back gun hauls, Assistant Commissioner of Police Terence James has reminded that every gun removed from the streets would have been used to commit a crime. Meanwhile, as police celebrated this small victory in the fight against lawlessness on Thursday, the robbery of Shaw Avenue supermarket just a day later on Friday 16th is keeping them busy. They are now trying to determine who was responsible for the armed robbery at Best Buy supermarket. So far, police have revealed that at about 9:40 a.m., a gunman entered the supermarket and robbed the cashier at gunpoint of an undisclosed sum of money. No one was injured during the incident. Authorities are hoping that assistance from the public will also aid them in solving this case quickly. Stay with us. SKN News Now continues in just a moment with today's top international developments. In the U.S., the political fallout continues from the indictment of a group of Russians accused of meddling in the 2016 presidential election. The issue has dominated Sunday morning political talk shows. President Donald Trump fired off several tweets rejecting accusations his campaign colluded with Moscow. Rosalind Jordan reports.
The U.S. President Donald Trump hasn't been seen in public since Friday, the day 13 Russian citizens and 3 companies were indicted for allegedly interfering in the 2016 presidential campaign and for allegedly trying to throw the election Trump's way. On Sunday, the president took to Twitter to blame everyone from Hillary Clinton to the media for the suggestion that his campaign colluded with the Russian government to win the election, something he has always denied. I never said Russia did not meddle in the election. I said it may be Russia or China or another country or group, or it may be a 400-pound genius sitting in bed and playing with his computer. The Russian hoax was that the Trump campaign colluded with Russia. It never did. The independent Senator Bernie Sanders allegedly was also being supported by the Russian operation. But he said on Sunday the bigger problem is how Trump is reacting.
But the real issue right now is how do we have a president of the United States not saying what everybody knows to be true? Russia interfered in 2016. They're going to interfere in 2018. And we have got to do everything we can to make sure that they do not undermine American democracy.
Meanwhile, a senior Democratic senator said the indictment should alarm Americans.
It's not yet clear whether the Russians succeeded in actually changing votes. What's clear is that they spent millions and millions of dollars and had hundreds of people working in a troll farm in St. Petersburg to intentionally undermine one candidate, Hillary Clinton, and support another, Donald Trump.
On Saturday night, Trump also criticized his national security advisor, H.R. McMaster, for not backing his view of the situation. McMaster had told delegates at the Munich Security Conference that the indictment was proof of Russian interference in U.S. political affairs. General McMaster forgot to say that the results of the 2016 election were not impacted or changed by the Russians, and that the only collusion was between Russia and Crooked H, the DNC, and the Dems. Remember, the dirty dossier, uranium, speeches, emails, and the Podesta Company. That tweet now has the D.C. chattering class wondering whether McMaster's job is in jeopardy, given the president's predilection for driving out those who don't parrot his view of the world.
Many Puerto Ricans are still struggling to cope without electricity months after Hurricane Maria destroyed the power grid for the Caribbean island. With some 40% of Puerto Rico still affected, people are coming up with even more innovative ways to live without power, along with other basic services such as clean water and internet access. Gianpolo Pietri reports on the efforts of one young couple who give new meaning to the concept of self-resilience.
Right after the storm, Luis Rodriguez and Christine Nieves returned to their community of Barrio Mariana in the southeastern municipality of Humacao.
When we saw the SOS sign in the street, we start asking ourselves, help is not coming and we have to do something. So we start talking to the neighbors and the organization here to start doing something, just like cooking and making something for the people.
While there are other efforts that are similar, the part that we're focusing on is how do you build self-efficacy so that people feel that they're actually part of solving their own problems, rather than I'm going to go here and someone's going to give me help and then I'm just going to go home and sit and wait for the help.
Restoring communication was key.
I just started asking on Facebook and in my networks, and I asked them, I need a way of being able to communicate when I'm up in the mountain. I need a sat phone. I thought that was the solution. As a result of that ask, what I got was someone from the network to support, not only financially support this effort, but also in her speaking with someone else, she found out a bit about this former U.S. military, guy that developed a technology as a result of Hurricane Sandy. And he came over, and within 2 days, we had Wi-Fi up here. And we were able to offer it to anyone who was here.
But they didn't stop there. Luis and Christine have also helped the community install large tanks that filter rainwater, making it potable and available for residents.
The same thing with solar panels over there. Some company, saw, I think it was a news story in Tampa. This. And then he called us and they're going to put some solar panels because we don't have energy here.
Over the last 4 months, what was a desperate attempt to recover the most basic services has become an ongoing process of empowerment through innovative community development.
We're finding out that we're understanding that data is power. Actually, being able to have community data, which the municipal government doesn't have, the state government, the federal government doesn't have. So who has the data about what happened to us? We're the only ones.
When asked how long they plan to stay in Mariana to help the community, Luis has only one answer.
If we keep helping each other, we're gonna be forever.
Still to come this evening, sport, the weather, and the Carib update. An anti-doping case has been opened against Russian medal-winning curler Alexander Koshalinsky, crucial, says the Court of Arbitration for Sport. Koshalinsky, who won Winter Olympic bronze with his wife in the mixed doubles, is suspected of testing positive for meldonium. CAS opened the case against the 25-year-old following a request from the International Olympic Committee. A hearing date has not been set, and a sample result was expected today. More than 160 competitors are in the Olympic athletes from Russia team as their country was banned from the Games over the systematic doping at Sochi 2014, which they hosted. Russian athletes who could prove they are clean could compete under the ORA banner, with the team comprising 168 competitors, the third biggest behind Canada and the United States. This incident, if proven accurate, is being viewed as a potentially huge embarrassment for the IOC, given that it let ORA complete. A spokesman for the IOC said it would be extremely disappointing for us if a case is proven. An IOC statement added, doping testing and sanctioning at the Olympic Winter Games Pyeongchang 2018 is independent from the IOC. Therefore, the IOC cannot communicate on individual cases while the procedure is ongoing. And now for a look at this evening's weather forecast, valid until 8 p.m. Tuesday. Over St. Kitts and Nevis, a deep layered high-pressure ridge will maintain a relatively stable atmosphere over the leewards tonight and tomorrow. However, shallow clouds embedded within a moderate to fresh breeze will cause brief interruptions to otherwise normal weather conditions. Therefore, skies over St. Kitts and Nevis tonight will be partly cloudy, with a chance of a brief passing shower. Tomorrow will be partly sunny generally, with a chance of brief early morning and late afternoon shower. Winds are east-northerly east at average speeds between 15 to 19 miles per hour, occasionally reaching to an average of 24 miles per hour over coastal waters and elevated terrains. Seas are rough with heights between 2.1 to 2.8 meters or 7 to 9 feet. A small craft warning remains effective, while sea bathers should be very cautious, particularly in the near coastal waters east of the islands. Today's maximum temperature was 30 degrees Celsius, 87 degrees Fahrenheit. Amount of rainfall for the month of February stands at 20 to 5 millimeters. The sun will rise tomorrow at 6:35 a.m. and set at 6:14 p.m. That ends tonight's edition of SKN News Now. Now for a recap of our top stories. SKNLP is strongly condemning Speaker Michael Perkins ahead of Wednesday's sitting of Parliament. Internationally, the fallout in the Russia-Trump probe continues over recent indictments. And in sport, allegations of Russian doping at Pyeongchang is creating embarrassment for the International Olympic Committee. I am your presenter, Javon Liebert. Stay tuned for Carib Update is next.